Hi, my name's Nick Jarvis and welcome to Light Minds. Um, the Light Minds program is designed to help you to go on a journey of discovery to achieve the shape you want to be in, get to the weight you want to have, and generally improve your health and well-being. And the focus of the program is on developing a mindset which will enable you not only to achieve what you want, but to sustain that. And in earlier videos, I've been talking about the fundamental principles behind the mindset that is required really to create lasting change, but also to enable you to enjoy the journey, to be in a good space. And in this video, what I want to touch on is how you go about developing that understanding and growing. So it's on a continual basis. It doesn't stop. So let me share my screen with you. And this is what a lot of people, just by the title of this slide and this presentation, focuses on the fact that we're not just trying to get to a destination, i.e. a certain weight. We're actually thinking about it from the prospect of, okay, maybe in future time, you'll change, you'll adapt, you'll fine tune. It's about always being present in terms of how healthy you are, how you're feeling. And this is actually really, really important because when you reach say you set a weight that you want to achieve, or you want to get to a certain dress size, trouser size, or whatever, you get there and you go, okay, now what? And you will, by the way, because it doesn't seem to be the end, and it's not the end because it's about generally improving. So there's a continual element to everything that we're trying to do, and what we're doing is actually growing naturally, always looking to develop. Now that doesn't mean it's hard work or anything like that, far from it, but there's a sense that is built into human beings that we're looking to continually develop, and that is within us. So it's not a set of things that we have to continually go and achieve. It's actually built into us. And I've talked about this several times about how that works. Now, these are a couple of quotes from Albert Einstein, supposedly. We're not really sure about some of his quotes, but the principle is right. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So where you are today is due to your thoughts. Now, if you therefore want to be somewhere else in the future, and you want something different, you need different thinking. You need different thoughts. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. So what you're aware of and how you're living, the world you're in at this moment in time, is creating what you've got. So if you're a particular size, that's what it's creating, and that's part of the habit. It's kind of locked in. Sometimes you seem like you break out and then you seem to get back there all the time. Well, something's got to break you free from that. And that's awareness. It's your consciousness. It's being aware of what's going on for you. So rather than just going through the motions day to day, as you become more aware, things will shift for you. Now, earlier on in one of the other videos, I talked about how most of us go about trying to achieve goals. Now, what I want to talk about a similar process, but subtly very different, is our proactive learning. And proactive learning is where you don't set out to achieve things because you're desperate to make a change. You set out because you have a sense there's something not quite right. Now, for me, working with hundreds and hundreds of people on weight loss, what I've found is most people come from the point of view of, oh, I've got to change. I'm upset. I'm feeling bad or whatever. I now need to change. So it's coming from this place of desperation. And a lot of it's, I should be different. Whereas this approach to learning and developing and growing is all about actually, what do you sense is a good direction for you to be going in? Now, from this chilled kind of place, a lot of people go, well, I could be healthier and fitter. Okay, so if that's the case, if you were healthy and fitter, what would you be doing? How would you be? And you might come to the conclusion, I wouldn't carry so much weight. I want more mobility. Oh, okay. If you wanted more mobility, what would you do? Well, I'd get into better shape. Great. It's a very different approach than I'm not good enough and therefore I need to lose weight. So proactive learning starts not from a place of struggle or confusion, but from a place of freedom. I want to expand myself. I want to fulfill my potential. And I've got a sense that this is the direction I want to go in. And I call that authentic goals because they come from within as opposed to from here of what you should be doing. See, should be doing is all about what's going on outside you, what other people think you should be, and you've adopted those kind of beliefs. And then from those authentic goals, you relax and you come up with solutions that you're guided to. Things appear. And by the way, when you've got 11 million pieces of information coming into your mind every 1 second, there's tons of it there. It's all there. But when you're all confused and up here and your thinking's revved up, you don't see a lot of that information. But when you come from a place of clarity, you go, that might be worth testing out, experimenting with, to see if I connect with that. And, that includes different ways and times of eating, and it includes different ways and times of moving. I'm continually adapting my exercise regimes, which I've been doing. I've been exercising since I was in my teens through sport, and I've continued that, except for occasional blips. And so for me, it's a fine tuning. I get a sense, now I'm going to look at this. I'm going to do some yoga or whatever. You just get the sense, you get guided solutions and you try them out for yourself. You try them on, and some will fit for you and some won't. And it doesn't matter. You'll find your way. And then the approach that you do, as I was explaining there, you explore, you discover. And that's the important thing. You don't go with the rigid, you can do, rigid, I must do this approach, because what I found is when people try and do that, it doesn't last because it's forced. It's not authentic. And what you might find is you continually grow. You see new ways and new things of doing it. And this to me is all about thriving. Now, I showed this before in the complete opposite, where it becomes what we call the cycle of desperation, where it's, oh God, you're forcing things to happen. Whereas this, you're continually growing. There's no time frame you have to put on it. It's a journey of discovery. Now, so there's a question which lies at the heart of all of this. When it comes to losing weight and getting to great shape, are you coming from a place of inspiration or a place of desperation? You see, inspiration, what I've just talked about there, is a desire to grow, a desire I've got to go in this direction to fulfill more of myself, to be more of myself. For me, for example, there's a lot of things I want to do in my life, and being in physical shape enables me to do that. Being fueled and therefore having the energy enables me to do that. I want to explore and expand these things. So part of this is why I focus on that. Ram Dass, he's passed away now, was a Buddhist monk from America. So he was Western, but he wasn't. He might have been a doctor. I don't think he was a doctor. And he was a very well-known Buddhist monk. And he used to say, look, our body is like a spacesuit. We're given it for this journey. Now, if you had one spacesuit, wouldn't you take care of it for the journey? That's how I approach looking after myself physically. And that's in comparison to the cycle of desperation. The cycle of desperation comes from the idea that life is about survival. It's just, it's more constricting. People told me this, so I've got to go and do that. So my goals are based on that. That's the cycle of desperation. It's not about inspiration. It's not about thriving. It's not coming from within. It's coming from without, what I should be doing. So which one are you choosing? Where are you coming from? And I say this because at the core of it, you might be coming from a place of desperation now. But if you want to have long-term success and be happy, and on the journey be happy too, then inspiration might be the key to you for the change. So one is about the head. What have I learned? What's my conditioning? And one is about coming from this innate well-being, the thing we were born with, to grow and expand. And here the diagram says the soul. So one's from inside and one's from outside. Where you're coming from will make a heck of a difference on how you go on your journey, and then what happens when you reach the kind of places you want to get to. So how do you do it? Well, first of all, you want to find clarity. You want this to settle down. So when you're coming from a place of desperation, you've got a lot of this going on in your head. You're confused, you're frustrated, you're upset, you're beating yourself up. But then when this settles down and you've got clarity, things become clearer, literally clearer. You can see things from a very different perspective. And that enables you to gain insights and realizations. Fresh thinking can come through you. The thinking can't come through when you're like that. The thinking comes through when things settle down and you have these, aha, what about this? Now, might not be right, but actually you go and test it. You don't have to be desperate about it. You go and test it and see. The thing about insights are, once you've seen them, they're never forgotten. So, for example, you might have seen this logo of FedEx on many, many vans, on parcels you've received. But most people that I've come across have never spotted that there's an arrow in there, which, of course, when you think about what FedEx does, it's actually quite a powerful part of the logo. It's dropped in there. It's between the E and the X. Now, the thing is, once you've seen that, you can never forget that. That's what happens with insights and realizations. Once you see it, once it happens, once it gets into your system, it doesn't go away. And most of these insights, of course, are just happening all the time. And so I've got my mobile phone here, and you get these upgrades on your phone. And there's a little notification. This does such and such. And you think, oh, I know what it does. I actually don't even look at that bit of it. It's tiny, though, isn't it? It's a small amount. It does this. And then you upgrade your phone. But what you don't see is what's happening behind and in the phone itself. It's an extraordinary amount of stuff going on. You're not aware of that. And that's what's happening with insights and realizations. As you've allowed your mind to settle down and for fresh new thinking to come in, things are happening to you. You don't even realize. And then the magic is you start doing things differently and you don't really know. So this isn't a case of forcing yourself to do certain things. It's a case of becoming more aware, more conscious, seeing things differently, going, oh, that's interesting. Then something happens inside your system. Your system is upgrading. It's recalibrating. It's going back to the natural way, the way you were born with. And you do things differently. That's phenomenal. Now, you've got an incredible feedback system that tells you whether you're in the cycle of desperation or the cycle of inspiration. That feedback system is your feelings. When you're feeling tense, when you're constricted, when you're angry, you're anxious, you're upset, you're in the cycle of desperation because you're actually thinking things out there are causing me to be this way. But when you're calm, relaxed, you're in the cycle of inspiration. You're free for things to come from within you. You're at peace. And everything is going to be okay. And by the way, it always will be. The cycle of desperation, at the core of it, is often things aren't going to be okay. It's a survival mechanism. So your feelings will always tell you which one of these two are you in. That's all feelings do. Are you coming from this place of innate well-being, or are you coming from this place of external, outside thinking? Humans are very interesting because when we're unsure of something, when we feel lost, we tend to rev up. We tend to energize. We tend to make things happen. But animals don't do that. They stop. When they're lost and not sure where to go, they stop. They enable clarity to appear, the clarity to come in. And then they go, oh, well, that's the way. And off they go. And the kind of beauty about all of this, and I often use and you'd have seen it on the logo, the butterfly as an example. You're all familiar with how the butterfly changes several times throughout its life cycle. Well, the same is happening to us, but not in such extreme ways. We don't literally lose our skin. But the thing is, everything about those changes are contained within the butterfly. So as the butterfly moves from a caterpillar to a chrysalis, everything that's moving there, it's like this soup inside, just growing, changes. Then it's the chrysalis. It's a solid thing, or appears that way, but it's not. It's just the soup. And then out appears the butterfly. It's nothing that wasn't in there already. And this is the power that we all have. It's all within us already. We have this ability to adapt and change. We're just not often tapped into it because we're not aware of it. That's really what Light Minds is all about. It's about helping you see these things, become aware of your true potential, of what's inside you. And, you know, the program is 30 days because we want you to actually be immersed in it. Surround yourself in it over 30 days. You know, the daily stuff is very short. You know, it's 10 minutes a day just to become aware of these things. But that immersion over the 30 days could well help you to recognize what you've got going for you and the best way for you to progress in terms of being on your journey to get into great shape and losing weight. It'd be fantastic if you joined us. Hope you found that useful. Thanks so much.